Hello, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. We're going to continue our conversation on the Hindu tradition by looking at two Hindu epics over the course of the next two lectures. The first Hindu epic we're going to discuss in our time together is the Ramayana. So let me share my screen with you here, and I hope you are doing well. And let's get started. So yeah, Ramayana is the Hindu epic we'll talk about today. And then next lecture, we're going to discuss the Bhagavad Gita in the three ways of liberation. All right. So to get into it, this is kind of an overview. Prior to talking about the Ramayana, we're going to briefly discuss the Upanishads, which are connected to the Vedas, the oldest sacred text in the Hindu tradition, which we talked about last class. Um, so I'll talk about the Upanishads, then the Ramayana, and then we're going to leave the other points of discussion, the Bhagavad Gita, and the three ways of liberation until next lecture. Okay, so let's get started now. So first, the Upanishads. What I want to say about the Upanishads is that they are philosophical texts from the 7th, 6th century before the Common Era. And the philosophical texts are located in the later Vedas. So the Vedas, the oldest of the sacred texts in the Hindu tradition, were composed centuries back. And the later Vedas included these philosophical texts, the Upanishads. The Upanishads focus on philosophical inquiry, and they interpret the earlier hymns, which emphasize sacrifices and rituals. Remember, you might recall we talked about that. There's four different types of Vedas, and the first type of Veda focuses on rituals and sacrifices. The Upanishads interprets those rituals of sacrifice in a spiritual or allegorical way rather than a literal way. And so the Hindu traditions are gradually moving away from sacrifice rituals and moving towards other forms of devotion, which is known as bhakti, which we'll talk about later in our time on the Hindu traditions. In terms of the structure of the Upanishads, they're set up to be dialogues. So kind of like Plato's writings, the Greek philosopher Plato often wrote in a form of a dialogue. We have a teacher, we have the student, and they have a conversation in which a wide range of the themes are discussed. So the Upanishads conversations between the teacher and student could cover a wide range of themes, or it could be a conversation between husband and wife, or between fellow philosophers. So just to give you a sense of the Upanishads, so just to reiterate first, Upanishads are philosophical writings which are included in the later Vedas, and they interpret the sacrificial rituals in an allegorical or spiritual way rather than a literal way. To give you an example, a sense of an Upanishad, here at the end of this slide, let me quote from the Taittiriya Upanishad, um, which is getting to philosophy and how one should comport or behave themselves. Speak the truth, practice virtue. Do not neglect to study every day. Do not neglect truth, virtue, studying, or teaching. Give with faith. This is the secret of the Veda. And of course, the word Veda means wisdom, right? It means wisdom. And so this is just like a pragmatic teaching, a teaching that is steeped in wisdom on how one should live their life by speaking truth, practicing virtue, studying, and giving to those in need, especially with faith. These are the secrets of wisdom. So the Upanishads. Now, for the remainder of this lecture, I want to talk about one of the two major Hindu stories or epics that are really enmeshed and are an important part of Hindu culture and the Hindu way of life. And this story is called the Ramayana. It's a story that's approximately 2,500 years old. Um, it was written in Sanskrit, an ancient language that comes out of India. So the purpose of the Ramayana, it has the same purpose that we're going to see with the Bhagavad Gita, the other famous Hindu epic poem, which we'll talk about next class. It has the same purpose, and that is to teach Dharma, to teach Dharma. So recall with me that there is no exact equivalent within the within Hindi for the word religion. But the closest we might get to that word religion in the Hindu tradition would be dharma. And dharma could be translated in different ways, but essentially dharma is duty. And so dharma is the practice and the recognition that one needs to do their duty. And so both of these epics, the Ramayana, which we'll discuss now, and the Bhagavad Gita, they narrate the importance of doing one's duty. And this here, just a particular image, it has some of the main characters, which we're going to be introduced to over the next 10 minutes. So you have Hanuman, who's a flying monkey, and Rama's friend, who's going to help Rama find Sita, his wife, who's located here, the third over. Then we have Rama, and this on the far right, that's Rama's brother, Lakshmana, or half-brother, who's also participates in the story. And so let's get started. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes talking about the story, lifting up some of the significance of the story, and point towards the significance of the story within the Hindu tradition. So here's the plot. You have Rama. You see an image of Rama, that's a Murtis, what's it called, Murtis, on the right. Rama is often depicted in blue. It kind of depicts the vastness of the ocean, and blue within the Hindu tradition kind of denotes divinity as well. So it's a significant color. And often you see Rama, whether it be in murtis like this on the right, or in art, or on stage, is often depicted in blue tones. So Rama is the protagonist. Rama is a prince. Rama was the first son of a king named Darsharatha. Rama wins the hand of Sita in marriage by stringing a bow. It's like a bow and arrow, and he's able to string it when every other would-be suitor was unable to string the bow. And this was a requirement. This was a test that Sita's kingly father required. So he succeeds, he strings the bow, and he wins the hand of Rama in marriage. Darasatha must do the promise he made with his wife. He must bypass Rama, his first son, who traditionally, being the first son, would assume the crown after the passing of his father. And instead, because of a promise he made to his wife, the king Darasatha had to crown the younger brother of Balarata. Rama is in shame, right? He's disgraced, and he's banished into the forest for 14 years. Bharata finds Rama and begs him to return, but Rama refuses, respecting his father's decision. So his brother, who received the crown, comes to Rama, and Rama says, "No, I refuse, because I have to respect the decision of my father. That is, that's the duty, right? That's the duty of a son." Pardon me. Excuse me. So the story continues. The story continues. So Rama enters the forest with his wife Sita, and unfortunately, Sita is captured by Ravana, a demon king from the island Lanka, who has 10 heads. So Rama begins, sort of drama picks up. Rama begins searching for Sita with his brother and a group of monkeys, a group of flying monkeys, led by their leader, who has divine ancestry, a monkey who goes by the name Hanuman. Hanuman finds Sita and reports to Rama, who, with Sita's help, fights Ravana. Rama kills Ravana, this 10-headed monster who's the king from this island Lanka, and is reunited with Sita. And so what you have modeled here is Rama doing his duty as an ideal son, as an ideal husband, and as an ideal king. Rama becomes seen as an avatar of the Hindu god Vishnu, who we'll talk about more as we progress in our time in the Hindu traditions. We'll have a lecture or two devoted to Hindu deities. It will return to the name Vishnu, but Vishnu is an important deity of devotion within the Hindu tradition. So again, Rama receives a bow with infinite arrows, just to repeat some of the high points of the story, to defeat Ravana's army in the forest. So here's an image of the multi-headed Ravana, the king of the island. And so the legacy of Rama within the story is one in which he demonstrates dharma, right? He demonstrates a certain virtue. He obeys his father. He rescues rescues his wife Sita and so forth. Also, the legacy of Sita. So not only does Rama demonstrate dharma in the story, but Sita as well. Sita gets idealized for qualities in relation with Rama. Rama's subjects, unfortunately, as the story, once Sita returns, when she's freed from being held captive by her husband Rama, when she returns to be with Rama back in the kingdom, the people, the subjects, were suspicious of Sita's virtue because of her time in captivity. They thought maybe she engaged in some sexual intercourse with Ravana or something like this. Therefore, because her virtue was being questioned, Sita slept outside of her husband's home. And then Rama, due to the pressure of the people, of his subjects, banishes his pregnant wife. The exiled Sita gives birth to two sons. So just kind of continuing the story with you here. And then years later, the two sons, the twins, prepare to meet Rama in battle. And it's then that Sita tells them that Rama is their father. And so, in many ways, not just Rama, but also Sita becomes a model of Dharma, right? She becomes the dutiful wife and the dutiful mother. And she didn't, do anything that should have caused her to be banned from her husband's home. She did nothing of the sort, but just her being under suspicion led Rama to ban her. So she remains faithful throughout the story and very much so demonstrates one doing their duty or dharma. Likewise, Hanuman. Hanuman, likewise, the flying monkey who you see here in this image. This is from a play. This would be Hanuman, the flying monkey. And in the background, we're going to see Rama, and over here is Sita. Hanuman, the flying monkey, does his duty as well by fighting Sita for Rama, but then reporting it to Rama, not trying to intervene and rescue Sita on his own, because that's not his role. That's not his responsibility. That's not his duty. That's the duty of the prince. So he goes to his friend, the Prince Rama, after fulfilling his duty, which was to find Sita. He reports to the prince where her location, so Rama could fulfill his duty or dharma as well. And so it's important to note that the last slide, that this Ramayana and the significance of the Ramayana doesn't just live between pages of a text. It is a story that comes to us through the text, but it's a story that has been lifted out of the text, and it's a story that is embedded with Hindu culture, whether it be through the enactment of the Ramayana in plays, like you saw on the last slide, or whether it be the memorializing of Rama and Sita through murtis. And we'll talk about murtis. Her murtis here. Murtis translates as stuff, but it's an important type of stuff because it becomes a focus for devotion, or bhakti is the term in the Hindu tradition, which we will talk about more as we progress forward. And so again, Hanuman, just to wrap the story, the fantastic Lord of the Monkey, the flying monkey, companion of Prince Rama in the Ramayana, like Sita and like Rama himself, they model Dharma, which is key to this story, this classic story in the Hindu tradition. And so Lord Vishnu is an important deity in the Hindu tradition. And Lord Vishnu has 10 avatars. Remember, we talked about avatars as being one of the patterns we see across world religions. And avatars, by definition, avatar means to come down to earth. So avatars, by definition, are deities who come down to earth in various forms. In the case of Vishnu, the Hindu deity here on the left, He comes down as in forms of avatars 10 times. So there's 10 avatars of Vishnu, and two of the most important are one, Rama, the Ramayana, who we just talked about, and then Krishna, who is the charioteer, who gives advice to Prince Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And we'll talk about the Bhagavad Gita next time and talk about the significance of Krishna and Prince Arjuna within that story. And again, just to point out, Krishna is another important avatar of Lord Vishnu. So we'll talk about that more. It'll become more clear as we progress. Let's stop there for now, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.